Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for checking in today. I usually like to leave the first couple minutes, just let people kind of gather their bearings, and give them some time to join in. I see someone here has already dropped a comment down below. I didn't know you guys could comment before, but that's super cool. Maybe I'll start posting these earlier so that way it gives you guys like time, maybe even like days to kind of see it, and you can post your own comments from there. We can move forward. But Lover says, "Can I use Ezoic to monetize my own social media site?" So as long as it meets all the basic ad requirements to monetize through Ezoic, it should. And if it is like a social media site of your own, assuming you post your own content, then that's totally fine. Um, as long as you have original content that's being posted and not scraped from other places, and that's totally fine. We don't want to encourage malicious behavior. We don't want to, promote any hacking content. But yeah, that's absolutely totally fine. And if you are curious still, like what our basic ad requirements are, I can drop them down in the comment section for you. That way you just know for sure 100% everything that is expected out of the review. Guav, good morning. Thank you all for joining. I'll introduce myself now, but I probably will again 3 other times in the next 40 minutes just in case other people are joining in. But my name is Charlie, as you guys can see at the bottom. I'm from the Ezoic Access Now onboarding team. I'm sure you guys see me in Twist a bunch. Sometimes I email you guys. Um, but yeah, or maybe sometimes you guys have joined me in the past year. Um, I do have a site that I can use, and I can run some live tutorials. It seemed that a lot of you guys were requesting to further educate yourself, and the best avenue you guys kind of told us, at least through the surveys, is that you guys wanted to see some live tutorials. So I can quickly just walk through some of that in the next couple minutes. Again, I just want to give some people some time to be able to join through here. But I will be, using this basically test site to show you exactly, what I can do on my end, and kind of what it looks like, when you guys write and say, hey, I had an EPMV drop or my site speed or my caching has changed. I can kind of look at things from my end and show you, hey, if you're seeing these issues from my end, maybe you can recreate the steps that I do to kind of troubleshoot this, and then move from there. But I do hope you all are having a great week so far. It's Friday Eve, so hopefully you guys are excited about that. Unless you guys are working on the weekends, of course, or maybe today's your day off, and I hope you guys enjoy that. If it is your day off and you're joining me here this morning or this afternoon where you're checking in from, I really appreciate that. This is, as you guys know, my favorite part of the week. I love being able to just sit here and talk to you guys. I know it's a little bit different, you know, maybe of how other people do it, but I like to keep it pretty, cavalier. I like to keep it pretty conversational. So if you guys have any questions about, my experience here, or if you want to talk about, the direction maybe Ezoic is going in or the features that we're working on, that'd be great. But it looks like I have a good amount of people in here now. So I can kind of jump into it, um, and kind of work on the live tutorial first. Mom Ban Up, she's the best. She says, hey, you can talk about my side if you like. First off, I'd like to say good morning or good afternoon. I forget where you're checking in from, um, but I do appreciate that, that I can, talk about your site if you'd like. I do really, really appreciate that. I do have another site I can use. It's someone that works at a Ezoic site. But Mom Ban Up, if you would like me to check out something with your personal account, I can actually do that, and I can kind of live stream directly through here. That's only if you're comfortable with that again. Um, but it looks like I missed a couple questions from the beginning, so let me get back here before I start doing that. I'm sorry if I butcher your name here, but Odon Lumen says my application to level 2 is still pending since last week. I have 27,000 visits in the last 30 days. So that's incredible. 27,000 visits is amazing. Congrats on that progress so far. So there are 2 requirements in order to level up. You're going to have to hit the visit threshold, which I believe is 20,000. So you've checked that off. And you're also going to have to hit the revenue base, which I don't know this off the top of my head, but I believe it's like 100, 150, maybe $200 in order to get from um, level 1 to level 2. Maybe it's $100. But essentially, the reason why, so it sounds like you submitted your application last week. So let's say it was 7 days ago. That is the 14th. And the way the levels works, essentially, we sum the data from one calendar month, meaning the first of the month to the end of the month. It's not 30 days starting whenever. So essentially, July 1st is when this application period would start. And then, so Odon Lumen, once you get to the end of this month, that being, what is it? How many days are there in this month? 30, 31? 31. So once you get to the 31st, that's basically when the cutoff is for us summing your data. And then if you do meet the requirements to go from level 1 to level 2, you can expect the application to actually show and be approved by the 10th of August. So it's always the 10th of the following month. So you might hit the level 2 requirements on the 31st of July and be like, oh, why it, and now it's August 1st. Why am I still on level 1? It's just because we like to review all the domains and the applications before actually manually leveling them up. A bit of a ramble, but I hope I covered that okay. And Odon Lumen says, my video placeholders are not displaying ads. So this is something we can actually troubleshoot from our end as well. The best advice I can give you without actually dissecting it from right here is basically giving you the article on how to use our video player. And I can send that to you right now. But if you're saying, hey, Charlie, I already saw this, I kind of went through this, I embedded my videos to YouTube, can you take a deeper look at this? I could say, absolutely. I can either do that right here for you to see and kind of see how I work on things, obviously excluding the back end. Or you can just say, hey, Charlie, I'll head to Twist to keep my domain and everything private, and we can go in there and troubleshoot. But I will say, if you're not seeing the video ads, the best thing to do is to go to the actual URL where you posted the video ad, enable the Chrome extension. That way you can actually see all the placeholders that are enabled on your pages. When you go to the Chrome extension, there should be 3 tabs there. There should be, view, create, and then also video. So you want to make sure you're actually over there. Oh, but Mom Van's up. It's from Virginia. I didn't know that. I actually grew up in Maryland for 18 years. I was born in Chicago, but I actually grew up in Maryland, so I was right outside, the Washington D.C. area. We call it, I guess, the DMV. But my mom actually still lives in Georgetown, so she's still over there, and my dad actually lives in Alexandria, so he's also in Virginia. So that's awesome. Gaurav says, Charlie, last time we spoke about the VIP interview podcast kind of series. Is there any chance we can expect that in the future? So I actually did bring this up to the PSM lead, and he thought, it was a great idea. They're actually expanding their team as we're sending tons of sites up to them. I also showed him that in our most, we kind of revise some of the surveys we send out just to get like a good gauge of where you guys kind of want to go with the program, or maybe what you like / dislike. And he thought that was a great idea. And essentially, the survey data also showed that your guys' primary avenue for like further education would be live tutorials, which is beautiful because I said last week I would do it, and now I have a domain to actually do it this week. So as I just saw that data yesterday, I was pretty excited because like, oh, pretty instant gratification. I can kind of do that first thing this morning. Let me answer some really quick. Ditto about the comment above. Only some of my videos are showing ads. Okay. Sometimes this can be a ad network. What's it called? You just want to make sure everything on the back end is set up, in terms of ads.txt and everything of that sort. But we also want to make sure that all the settings on the back end, so you actually have ads enabled, your pre-rolled ads, also that you're approved for both Ad Manager and Ezoic. But if only some of them are showing video ads, that's something we can look into. I don't know if the play percent rate is 100%, but I can again talk to the video team. And again, if you guys are not comfortable with posting your domains right here and me troubleshooting first thing, you can actually just head to Twist really quick, open a thread. We have Taylor and Tucker in there right now, so we can help and just say, hey, I'm working with Charlie. We might need to contact the video team, blah blah blah, and then move from there. Make sure that all of the videos are actually showing ads. Armstrong says, I noticed all my subdomains has Ezoic ads on the site. Is it because I'm on Ezoic hosting now? will all subdomains also generate revenue? How exactly does it work? So if you're showing ads on your subdomain and your subdomain's routing through our CDN, then of course we're going to be collecting impressions, and that does mean you'll be earning revenue. If you added the subdomains and you haven't reached out to us yet, you probably should do that first thing now, and just to make sure that all your subdomains are routing through our CDN. But if you're not using AdSense and you have ads showing, that definitely means those are Ezoic ads showing, and revenue will definitely be generated from them. And I'll internet marketing educate. I can call you by that. But essentially, I can answer this question for you directly after I go through some of this live tutorials, because sometimes people rewatch them and I don't want to get rewatch the live streams, and I don't want to get too deep without covering it. But I can cover this, right after this. This is a great question. We see it all the time. We actually have some new support articles for you that will actually help with this. But yeah, so let me pull up this site. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do, the perspective I'm gonna take when I do this live tutorial, let me know if you guys want me to change the way I go at this. But essentially, I'm gonna be attacking this, live tutorial right now as if I was trying to figure out how to increase my EPMB. Let's say, I'm seeing a lower EPMB. Hey Charlie, like instead of saying, hey Charlie, reaching out to support, like, what can I do? I'm basically gonna show you kind of what I do on my end and kind of all the things I look for. I won't be changing anything on this domain specifically because it's not mine, and it's kind of been, running for a long time, but I can basically tell you all the things you guys can do from your end. I'm going to share my screen, window, share screen, window, home tab, dashboard. Cool. Let me just make sure it shows. I have my computer up just to make sure I'm not viewing this wrong. Okay, awesome. Oh, and you guys can still see me on the side. Cool. Okay, so let's say, hey, Charlie, my EPMB is not as high as I was hoping. Basically, what can I do, or what do you look for on your end to make sure everything is dialed in? The first thing I always like to do is to basically go and, I basically want to recreate this error. So of course it's not an actual error, but that's just something I like to say, if this is the issue, the first thing I like to do is just recognize that it truly is an issue. And the easiest way to do that is just, go down on the home page of the dashboard right here. This is where it'll automatically load when you guys log in. And then, you guys can see your earnings. And then if you actually click your view earnings report here, you can basically see it as a graph. So of course, this is not your guys' domain and this is not your issue, but the first thing we can notice that the earnings in terms of, revenue by day, this is a very consistent pattern. Of course, maybe on the second half here, it's gone up a good bit, but it's basically around, this $14 a day, sometimes going up to nearly 28. But we'll call it basically around this $14. So this looks pretty solid. This site has been with Ezoic for a really long time. We're not expecting these crazy drastic changes. Ad testers kind of already figured this out. But we can actually also go investigate this by EPMB. So you can see the EPMB day by day. We could say it's somewhere maybe on average around maybe $18 to $20, maybe around the $20 range. That's kind of the median that we can kind of see here. But essentially, this is just a great graph to use to say, hey, Charlie, I'm seeing an EPMB dive, or my earnings are really low, like what's going on? And what this EPMB graph can tell you is basically, your EPMB is actually very solid. So the EPMB and ad testers actually hasn't changed. That's not maybe the issue. Maybe it's something with the content. Maybe it's Google Search Console issue. Maybe you have, bad words on your page, but we can go in that more right now. But essentially, this is just a great first step to say, hey, Charlie, my earnings are lower. Let's figure out what's going on. These graphs do a really good job of that. So you can actually check it out daily. You can view it monthly over a longer period of time. So you can kind of see, yeah, this is very steady. This is very standard, which is awesome. So basically from there, I've recreated this quote unquote error. And then the second thing I like to do is I like to just go through the monetization tab to basically see what features you do or do not have enabled yet. And that will give me a good idea, kind of how how willing you are to actually cooperate with some of these features and how much you're willing to give them a chance. This is 100% up to you guys, and I won't go through and like make all these changes on your guys' end when you write out, but I'll say, hey, Mom Vinup, I noticed, you're reaching out for a lower UPMV. I noticed you have X, Y, and Z features not enabled. So if you guys are thinking there like, oh, I don't want you to go on the back end and kind of like wreak havoc and just enable everything on your end, I won't do that because these are your guys' domains. These are under your control. I won't just go willy-nilly and make changes without your guys' accord. I can point you guys in the right direction and say, hey, I noticed all these things. Do you want me to enable them? And then of course I will from there. Let me pause my notifications. Sorry. Cool. So yeah, the first thing I like to do is, if I see that your AdSense has not been linked up before, I will always ask and say, hey, were you previously using AdSense? And if so, you can basically link your AdSense account right here. And essentially what this will do is this will basically import all your AdSense data, and that's not like us just trying to get data. It's more for it'll actually expedite and kind of serve as a catalyst for our AI to learn your site. So it is providing benefit to you darn instantly, or at least within the first couple of days. It's basically just giving our AI more data to test and kind of better understand what your domain is doing and how it is working. So yeah, this is going to be the import historical data. You can link your AdSense account through here as well. If you guys are seeing an error message of this sort and you guys actually need a new invite to AdSense, we can generate this from our end. So if you're like, oh darn, like that link is expired or it's failing, it's not working, reach out to us. We can generate a new one for you, and then we can actually just send it to you directly. Sorry, I was just reading some of the comments, but I can touch up on those in a second. I just want to make sure you guys weren't like confused about one topic, because if you are, say, hey Charlie, can you take a step back and actually go through that again? That would be awesome. I can definitely do that. So just don't be afraid to reach out, and I'll definitely circle back. The next thing I like to do is I just like to see what features you do or do not have enabled. So we're serving ad tester for all the devices. That's awesome. Our AI placeholders are great. Enhanced placeholders is not on, which is okay. Again, this is your guys' control. But if you guys are looking to optimize EPMV, I do think it is best to just enable all of the different features here. You might freak out and say, well, this might create a really terrible experience, too many ads, too many different types of ads. I want you guys to keep in mind how our AI works. Our primary focus is user experience because we know there's a positive correlation between, user experience, engagement, and revenue. So we won't be offering these features and offering these different ad formats without having the data to show that they're actually not hurting user experience. So if that is your thought, feel free to turn them on without that worry. AI placeholders is a really, really good feature if you guys aren't using. Essentially what the AI placeholders does, it'll scan your pages and say, hey, I noticed you have 10 placeholders and the setup is pretty solid on this page. But we noticed we noticed two locations on the page where you could have a placeholder, but you do not already. And that's exactly what the AI placeholders will do. They'll find those locations where placeholders could be, and they'll automatically add them into those locations. So it's kind of like it kind of gives you that security to make sure that you're fully dialed in. And then, you have vignette ads. You guys do not have to do that. Of course, vignette ads are like when you're loading between pages. You kind of get that pop up right there in the middle. Some of you guys might say, I hate when I get vignette ads. I never want to have them on your site. That's totally fine. Go ahead and enable it. If you're thinking, that's not that big of a deal, it's just an easy one click away, and it might help with EPMV. You are right. So go ahead and you can enable that from there. That's kind of the second thing I like to check. The third thing I like to check is these are all the manual placeholders that have been created, whether it's between between the Chrome extension or hard-coded placeholders. And then the other thing I also like to check right here is, right below it, you'll have your plugin placeholders. And then, if I don't see the WordPress generated plugin placeholders, I will go to your site and I'll actually see if you are using WordPress. Because if you are, 99.9 or 100% of the time, I will highly suggest you actually set up placeholders using the WordPress plugin. That's obviously if you're using WordPress as a CMS. But the benefits are there and they're amazing in terms of ease and convenience. It is by far the easiest way to add 60 placeholders throughout your entire domain. It doesn't mean 60 placeholders will be on every single page. It does not mean that more ads will show for every page. I just want to get that point across. So that'll be that. So we don't have AdSense set up on the site, but if you're saying, oh yeah, I am using AdSense, you can see that mediation is not enabled, and mediation enabling this is a huge benefit for you all. So essentially how this works is, you sign up with Ezoic through our ad network, and we have all these ad networks within the ad network bidding on your inventory, right? And that's the programmatic bidding that you guys kind of see on when you first load your site, that we load the content while the programmatic bidding goes on. And essentially what mediation is doing, let's say you are using AdSense, you can basically add AdSense mediation, and what this does is add some of the AdSense network partners to also bid against the Ezoic partners for your same inventory, so you don't have to do anything with your placeholders or anything else other than enabling mediation, adding AdSense as a partner, and then exactly that. Mediation will allow AdSense partners to bid against Ezoic partners. And the way and the area you can actually check where and if you are earning through mediation is back on the home page. So if I were to go back to the home page and look at the revenue that we were looking at before, we'll give it a second. See how it says mediation 0? That's obviously because mediation is currently not enabled. But if you're seeing, mediation 0 and you have mediation enabled, that's not the end of the world. All that means is that the Ezoic partners are outbidding the AdSense one, so it's not an issue. It's not an issue at all. If you see maybe you're earning $1 through mediation every single day, and you're like, hey, I noticed that the sum of my total revenue was not being paid out through Ezoic, that's because mediation earnings will actually be paid out through your AdSense dashboard and through AdSense. So your mediation earnings, again, will not be paid out through Ezoic. Back to that, if you guys are like, hey, I just set up mediation, but I'm actually seeing it show pending. So if I were to click enable mediation, I won't do it for this site. Let's say it was yours, you'll actually see like Google AdSense on the bottom left. And it says, if it says pending, that's okay. All that means is, it'll be fully linked once AdSense wins the first bid for your inventory, and then it'll go to approved. But we can also manually link that from the back end. So if you've been seeing it for weeks now or a long period of time and you're like, I'm not sure if this is working or not, simply reach out to us and we can actually manually link that on the back end. Another thing, native ad units, that's a huge one. Your ads.txt needs to be set up. So if you're not seeing that, I would highly suggest that. I'll also check to see if you have max ads per page enabled, because I'll basically just ask to confirm that you do know exactly what is going on when you do that. But essentially, by the name verbatim, it will be limiting the amount of ads showing on a page. So if you're EPMB revenue focused and you're limiting the ads being shown on a page, you're kind of hindering and shooting your own potential in the foot. But yeah, that's kind of everything I'll look through on the monetization dashboard side of things. Sometimes another thing, like a smaller thing I'll do, I'll go into some analytics in a second. But another major thing is I'll look under objectionable content here, under the content tab of your dashboard. And what the objectionable content filter does is it basically will scan all your pages, I think 2 to 3 times a day. And anytime a bad word is found on the page, then ads will not be served on it. So if you're saying, oh, I published new articles, my my revenue's not going up, but my traffic is, this is the best first thing to check. And then if you are seeing objectionable content, it'll give you the URL and the exact word. So you can actually just visit the URL directly here. You can edit the article to remove the word or use a different word. And then from there, all you have to do is just basically wait a couple hours for the cron to run again, rescan your pages, and then you're good. This is another good one to check. You want to make sure that none of your pages are returning errors, no Google violations. But then I'll actually quickly run through some of the analytics that I also love to check. I can be a bit more brief on this one. But it's just great to see, all this data broken down in a little bit more digestible format here. So you can see your revenue, EPMV, you can see visits and total page views, engaged page views, your engaged time and your bounce rate. What I like to first do is, honestly, I like to go to content landing pages. And this will basically compare your most frequently visited pages, and you can kind of break down the data from there. Let's zoom out a bit. So what I like to see is, okay, let's grab, here we go. I like to grab the EPMB and just kind of drag it over so that way I can kind of compare a bit easier here. Can't scroll back, there we go. But this is kind of something, so if this wasn't the home page, I would initially say, okay, my top landing page has a great EPMB, that's awesome. So that doesn't seem like to be the issue. But then I'll be like, hey, this is my second most frequently visited page and has a really low EPMB. This is a major issue. So then I would actually highly suggest just going to this page and making sure that all your placeholders and everything are fully dialed in, top to bottom. You want to make sure that you have, they're dense, because again, the correlation does exist positively between more placeholders and the better user experience, which means the better in revenue. But this is the home page, as you guys can obviously tell. It's offshore.blue.com/nothing, which means it's a home page. So actually seeing a lower EPMB on the home page is 100% normal. You can see the engagement on the home page is a lot lower, which is completely normal. That's no cause for concern at all. But if I were to go down, I might actually see this one. I see, WX waveheights.php is actually a pretty highly frequently visited page, and it actually has an EPMB of just about half. So, then I would actually go to this page and say, I wonder why this page is not performing as well. Well, maybe it's a shorter page. You don't have as much content and space to actually add more placeholders. So maybe the best thing to do is, actually maybe go through and just maybe add some more content and maybe add some more engaging content, so that way users are kind of like going through the entire page more. But it looks like engagement is really good. So this is most likely just going to be in terms of the placeholder setup with that page. That's another thing I like to really look into. And I think lastly, the last thing I want to touch up on too, in terms of increasing EPMB, is adding video placeholders. That is going to be a huge focus for Ezoic moving forward. And obviously we're doing Humix, and we have you can embed it straight from YouTube. I'm sure Mom Van Up will tell you all about it. She's all over it, which is awesome. But essentially, that'll be the last thing I would touch up on in terms of increasing EPMB, is doing adding video content and video placeholders, etc. Cool. Hopefully that wasn't too drawn out. If you guys are saying, hey, Charlie, thanks for that, I like that, we can do more of them. I can do another one of them. But yeah, that's kind of what it'll look like when you reach out to me, and that's kind of what I'll do on my end. Say, hey, these are the things I look for. These are the things I noticed. These are the features not enabled. X, Y, and Z will have these adverse effects, and kind of go from there. And again, I won't touch anything on your end without confirming with you all first. These are your guys' domains. This is your property. This is your revenue. I won't go all willy-nilly and just press a bunch of buttons. Of course not. Okay, let me catch up on some of these comments. I'll try to go quick because I see there's quite a good bit right here. I got approved by Ezoic, but I can't reach approval for Ad Manager. Great question. So without knowing the exact issue with your denial, it'll be kind of hard to orchestrate an answer specific to your situation. We did, Tucker, you guys see him in Twist all the time. Tucker just created this amazing article. Let me pull it up for you. And this kind of goes over all the things that we look over, but it also goes over all of the things. Sorry, it goes over the things that we look over, but also goes over the things that Google is looking for in these denials, or in these reviews, excuse me. Let me find this article. Where the heck is it? Sorry guys, give me a quick second. This is a really good article for you all, so that's kind of why I really wanted to pull it up. This is one of our better ones so far. Oh, here we go. Got it. Sorry about that. Okay, so I would highly suggest looking at this article if you guys are getting denied by Ad Manager, either account or domain. And if you got approved by AdSense, you do not have to remove the Ezoic ads.txt. What you can actually do is you can actually go into the ads.txt manager app, which is underneath the monetization tab of your dashboard. You can actually enable the app, And from there you can see add a network. And then what you can do from there is you'll basically add your AdSense as a network, and then you can simply add your pub ID, your reseller unique ID, and then what that will do, that'll actually add the AdSense entry to your Ezoic ads.txt. You have everything there. You don't have to run two different ads.txt while you're showing two different ads. You can just add them all together in the same spot. I'm getting an error message for Google Search Console authorization for one of my sites. Unauthorized, missing or incorrect login details, credentials. Retry again. And I was gonna say you should try clear your cache and cookies, and then try to go and try to do it again in the incognito tab. It looks like Rob already tried this. I will say sometimes this is a cookie cache issue, so the best thing to do from your end right here is to actually clear cache and cookies, go into an incognito tab, and then try again. I did see this yesterday. I'm not sure if it was with yours or not, but that did end up working for this publisher. So make sure you clear cache cookies and then do the incognito and try again. So if you are on our hosting, we do not support subdomains at this moment. So your best bet is to go to another host that is fully compatible with Ezoic. I can add that article if you guys would like, but it's basically called Certified Seamless. Of course, we are looking to add subdomains here in the future, but our free hosting is a newer feature, and we have our team, and we basically want to work out all the kinks top to bottom before we kind of go into that next layer of things. And because it is a free feature and we do want to make it basically perfectly seamless, it is going to take us some time to fully dial in the process as it is. So we cannot do subdomains while on Ezoic free WordPress hosting right now. My modern cave. Hello and welcome in. They say for the last 22 days, my ad manager domain status remains waiting on Google to review your domain. I've been told that Google has been taking more time to approve sites. So Google was seeing a bit of a back delay, or they were seeing a bit of delay and just kind of an uptick in total reviews in total. So there was a bit of delay, but not anymore. These reviews can take up to 2 weeks, but not 22 days. So 14 should be max total. This is totally something that I want to look at in our end. So if you're comfortable with dropping your domain down in the comment section, do that, and I can check on that really quick for you. I can just do that on my computer even. If you're not comfortable posting your domain down, simply just open up a thread in Twist and say, hey, Charlie, I reached out. I was the one talking about my domain being reviewed for too long. But one thing I'll basically check for is if you submit your site for a review with Google and it was denied like 4 or 5 days ago, that actually reset the 14 days. So if there was a previous reason for denial, that's going to be the reason why we're now 22 days in. If you are 22 days in on the review and you've not been denied, you've never had a response on the domain, that is 100% something we want to look into. Most likely what the issue is with that is you're missing your ads.txt. So you should check that right now if that's your scenario. Check that your ads.txt is set up. Make sure your site is actually live, and then go into the ad manager dashboard, sign in, and look for any potential like account setup steps. Sometimes you need to like add your billing information. Sometimes you need to add your tax information or your payment details. And that's basically what Google Ad Manager is waiting for. I totally understand it, but I don't want my site to get disapproved by Google and wait for another month for another site review. Is there any way Ezoic representatives can review my site? Yes, we can take a quick look at your site and also make sure everything's enabled. But my modern cave, so I added that that URL to the bottom of the page, which basically everything we look for in these Google Ad Manager denials. So from a proactive standpoint, go through and read that article, and if you're saying, hey, I noticed that my site has this issue, that the article points out, just go ahead right now and make the edit and make that change, because if they haven't completed the review, you can make those changes prior. Obviously, just make sure you clear your cache once you do make those changes to your site. If you do, that way Google is actually seeing the most recent version of your domain. Brittany says, we have been unable to set up your account. Without any farther without any more information, this is going to be really hard. I'm not sure if you're setting up your Ezoic account, if you're setting up your ad manager account, but some more details there and I can easily help. I'm also noticing a bunch of new names in here, so I just want to reintroduce myself. Of course, you can see my name in the bottom there, but my name, is Charlie. I'm from the Ezoic Access Now onboarding team. I like to bug you guys all the time in emails. I like to bug you guys in Twist. And now you guys are voluntarily letting me bug you here, so I appreciate that. I work in the Carlsbad office, so I'm here I'm here on the west coast of the United States. So I do work Pacific Standard Time if you guys are curious. We're currently at 9:36 a.m. I'm dragging this on a bit, but yeah, that is who I am. I appreciate all the new names in here and the new faces. Um, if you're new, you can say hello. You can say, hey, I'm Brittany, or I'm anyone. This is where I'm checking in from. Not that that's necessary, you have to. I just kind of like to create that connection with you all. Just, we are real people. We're not just behind screens talking to each other. I think we've all done enough of that in COVID. Anyway, moving on. Gruff says, I was facing a similar issue, but I was able to solve it using Safari browser on my mobile phone. That's another great option. So if you are seeing that error on authorizing Google Search Console, try using another browser. If another browser doesn't work, try using another device. That's just great advice in general. Brittany says, been reaching out for a few weeks and our account is still not activated because of a disclaimer saying we need to reach out to your support team. Brittany, are you part of the Access? I'm assuming you're part of the Access Now Level 1 group. And if that's so, our support is done through Twist in those channels. I know a lot of you guys have been in there. Excuse me, Brittany, if you have not been in there, please go into the Twist channels now. We can basically help you out right now, because if you've been reaching out in a few weeks, I'm curious to where you're exactly reaching out, because the longest you'll basically have to wait for a response in Twist during our hours, which is basically all the time, is at most 3 hours. So 3 weeks is far out, and I want to make sure that we get that dialed in as of today, like as before noon, ideally. Mom Van Up said this is pretty cool. I just went through the stuff this week. My traffic has not been growing. And when I looked at Leap settings and watched some monetization videos and tweaked it, had a great result. Best earning day a month. Amazing. I love that. I love how that was instant for you. But I will say, if you are seeing your traffic go down and maybe your rankings aren't as good, actually going through Leap and checking those things out is a great first step. So kudos to you, Mom Ban Up. As we all know, Leap analyzes core web vitals, and core web vitals are essential and kind of the important metric that Google uses right now. A lot of you guys kind of write in about page speed insights and GT metrics, but in a lot of ways, those are very outdated and not relevant. Not relevant in the sense that, they're not analyzing the metrics and the data that is actually important. But they're actually also analyzing your pages kind of using a lab setting, which is basically meaning they're not using real user data. If you guys don't know, Leap does use the important metrics, and they actually also use real user data. So if you guys just enable Leap and you're just setting up your speed, and setting up your Leap account, or not your Leap account, but your Leap settings, you might not see data right off the bat, and you might not see core web vital scores. That's totally okay. That's only because Leap only analyzes real user data. So it is very relevant to your users and to the metrics that you need. Our AdSense is set up, but there is a disclaimer on Ezoic platform. Okay, but I'm trying to think of what the disclaimer could be when you're setting up AdSense. So I'm assuming you've linked AdSense and you've imported historical data. Maybe what I'm thinking is, maybe I'm thinking you enabled mediation and you're seeing pending there, or maybe you haven't been able to enable mediation because you have an ad blocker. But again, Brittany, some more information. I know I asked for more information earlier and you gave me some more information, but I think I'm going to need just a little bit more information. Oh, I see the next comment. Okay, congratulations, you are integrated. We're out your site through Zoho Cloud when ready. The good news is that you don't have to wait, but essentially we've detected a compatibility issue, error with your DNS. So Brittany, yes, Oh, she said here is what your website tells us. Okay, so what this means is that the DNS records that we have on file probably are most likely not exactly what you have on file at your host. So the DNS records in Ezoic need to match exactly what you have on file at your host. And that's basically everything you want to make sure that's set up on your end. Another common compatibility issue we see is if your host is serving your site through HTTPS, which means you have an SSL enabled. And sometimes if the SSL is on full or flexible, depending on the settings, that actually can be blocking our SSL from updating. So another thing you can do is just actually remove the SSL enable at your host. Ezoic offers free SSL. You don't have to do anything on your end. It's automatic when integrating. We generate that on our end, and then also when it expires, we automatically update it, so you never have to do any. You basically never have to worry about it. You never, it's hands off. But those are kind of the two main things when we see compatibility issues. It's either a DNS mismatch or an SSL issue. But again, if you want to actually give me your domain name, Brittany, I can actually probably have this solved by 9:45. To be honest, I can send it to the tech team and say, hey, is this something that we need to fix on our end, or is this something that they need to fix on your end? And if so, I can just tell you right now, all I'm gonna need is your domain name. But yeah, essentially, if you guys want some background insight, I'll give you some transparency on basically what the compatibility issues is before we turn on a site through our CDN, we actually like to run the site through your origin server, and then we also run it through our CDN, and we just want to make sure that the content and the pages are actually serving the same thing. So once we see that the content being served through your origin server matches exactly what we have through the Ezoic CDN, that's when we can actually turn it on and say, hey, there's not going to be any major issues. That's when we can turn it on. So the compatibility issue is basically recognizing a variance between the site routing through your origin server and then through the CDN. Ahmed says, I need help with tests, how to pass the test. So Ahmed, this probably means you signed up to Ezoic a while ago. This is when we actually had the courses and the tests in place, and you actually had to pass the test in order to gain access to the features. We do not have this anymore. I'm going to 100% agree with you guys that the test was probably not the best avenue of onboarding you guys. I think it did ensure that you guys are educated and know exactly what's going on, but you guys are all, self-made. You guys are all very smart and kind of like in touch with, your tech abilities. So we did remove the test in general. So if you want to reach out to me in Twist or email or however you can get to me, I just want to make sure that you are seeing the current version of your dashboard, because there are no tests anymore, which I think is something to celebrate, because I hate tests. I don't mind school, but I hate tests. Grab says, I've tried all different browsers, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, but still no luck. So Grab, have you been in Twist? I believe you have, and if not, could you please go in there and we can make sure that we get that dialed in right away. Imran, we've touched on this a handful of times in the past. My analytics is not working. It's been showing me a 500 error. This is definitely going to be a caching cookies issue. Clear your caching cookies and open up your analytics in the incognito tab. I'm positive this will work. And I've also enabled Ezoic Leap, but it gets disabled automatically. Asks me to enable monetization, but it's already enabled for both my websites. I can actually look this up really quickly, but in order to use Leap, you do need to be using some of Ezoic features. And I believe I remember this domain. Oh. And Ryan, I'm looking at this just really quickly to make sure I have this all dialed in. So we are seeing data being reported through the homepage as of Thursday, July 19th, which means that the data is probably being collected now. If I were to go into the analytics tab of your dashboard, I am seeing data populate there. So, and the reason why you're seeing Leap needs to be enabled or enable monetization that notification will go away once you've earned your first cent through monetization. Or through ad tester, excuse me. But it also looks like a majority of the data that you're showing is on your old platform. So if you actually are on the analytics tab and you click it, at the very top, you'll see viewing Ezoic platform. You can actually change the platform to say all platforms or old platforms. And that's when you'll actually see all the data, because right now it doesn't look like all your traffic is routing through our CDN. Again, the Leave dashboard notification will go away once you've earned your first cent. U Sports HC, hey boss. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. I'm super happy to have you back. I don't know why I always forget your name. I know it starts with an A, but I don't know why I always forget your name. But I appreciate you coming back. David says, the site I'm currently trying to get set up is a WordPress site, but I have another site which is a Concrete 5 website. Could that take Ezoic ads, or would I have to change it to WordPress first? Let me see how Concrete 5 works as a CMS. I can for sure answer this question and say, using WordPress, you'll see better features. You'll see more seamless accessibility within the dashboard. Basically, everything is built to work better through WordPress and Ezoic. So if you are comfortable making that switch to WordPress, I would 100% suggest it. But if you would not prefer to do so, let me see if I can find anything in the archive of our channels to see if anyone else is using Concrete 5. There's nothing I can see off the top here. I'm not seeing anything, so you can always try it. But I will say that the best answer I can give you here is to actually switch to WordPress as a CMS and then do it. If Concrete 5, if you know it loads your pages via JavaScript, that definitely will be an issue. Basically, how I can explain this is, if I were to visit your site, David, the user request path will go from my computer to the origin server, and then it'll route through our CDN and our scripts, and everything will be added, including ads and everything, and then that will be served to the user. The reason JavaScript ads or JavaScript serve pages sometimes don't work while cloud integrating is that the JavaScript will actually run after it routes through the CDN. So it'll actually bypass a lot of the features and scripts that actually do get run. If you're comfortable with it, I would definitely say switch to WordPress and reach out to us, and I can make sure that all of those get integrated seamlessly. I don't want there to be any bumps or issues there. But then again, if you really want to stick with Concrete 5, head to Twist, reach out to me. I'll get some more insight. I'll dig a little bit deeper in exactly how Concrete 5 works and see if any other publishers or if any sales team have actually worked with people using Concrete 5, and then go from there. Can I monetize a subdomain with Ezoic, just like AdSense? Also, can I host that subdomain with Ezoic? Thanks, Charlie. Yes, you can 100% monetize a subdomain with Ezoic. You can enable and add your subdomain to your Ezoic DNS, most likely through a CNAME record. But if you are being hosted by Ezoic, we cannot host subdomains at this time, but we can 100% route your subdomain through the CDN if you're using another host, and then you can monetize those subdomains. Of course, you can add your ads, add your placeholders, and use ad tester on your subdomain. So 100% you can. Brittany, well, we don't do one-on-one Zoom calls for this program now. This is kind of our alternative to Zoom. If you want to reach out to me in Twist, I can, we can work through direct messages. That's way it's more private there. But just from our perspective, the reason it might be hard for us to offer one-on-one videos is because, there's so many publishers out there, and from the scale perspective, it is a self-service program. So, as much as I would love to sit down and talk with you one-on-one, I would be working here for the next, 9 months straight without going home, which I would do for you all, but I would go crazy and it wouldn't be beneficial. So that's kind of like why we like to use these live streams, Brittany. is I can kind of work through that one-on-one with you there. If not, we can do that through Twist. And if you have not been in Twist and you need to be, please let me know and I can figure out an avenue. Awesome. Mom Venom says, I just added video placeholders. I'm going to try to film some soon to make it better. Awesome. I love that. You'll only see benefit. So Odon Lumen says my EPMV is very low, $3 to $4. There are a ton of things that actually go into this, so it's a bit hard for me to actually see why your EPMV is $3 to $4. This could be very normal depending on where your traffic is coming from in terms of, maybe it's social media, or maybe it's through Pinterest, or maybe it's through, lower earning country. As you guys know, the ad revenue index in certain countries is higher than others. So if you're seeing traffic from the US only, and your EPMV is $3 to $4, that is 100% something that we would want to look into, because this is very low for US traffic. Odon Lumen, I know you were in with me earlier while I kind of gave that EPMV deep dive from my end. I wouldn't say that's a deep dive, but essentially those are the things I'll look at from my end. So you can easily go back, rewind there, and kind of just work along your domain exactly as I did and shared my screen. But again, I can help you out with this in Twist. Hey Charlie, I would like to receive payments from Ezoic only. How much does it hurt my revenue if disable mediation? Do you guys have any statistics about this? If you want to be only paid out through Ezoic, you can disable mediation. I don't have any statistics exactly how this will affect your website. If you have enabled mediation, you probably realize that Ezoic partners primarily pay out more than AdSense anyway. The data is there to show that. But to say this will help your domain, I cannot say that. That'll be a lie. But again, I'm not sure why you don't want to do this. But again, it won't hurt you that much, but it definitely will not help with EPMV or earnings. This is a great question. Can I disable Google AdSense auto ads since I'm using Ezoic now? If you are using auto ads, all you have to do is just make sure your traffic is set to 100% in the Ezoic dashboard. You can check that under the settings tab, and if it's showing, sorry, I don't know why the meeting room showing is open. If you are if you are using AdSense auto ads, you can just simply set your traffic through Ezoic to 100%, and will automatically remove all the AdSense ads. So no action required on your end there. My modern game says, here's my site, but I don't see anything there. So let me know. Also, forget what your question was exactly. Oh, ad manager. Yes. We can do that for you. Rob says, Charlie, what if we don't get approved by Google MCM for 6 straight months? Is there any option we can look for? Site already approved by Ezoic and Google AdSense. So if it's been going on for this long, please reach out to me some way today. If you're still in Twist, please do that. I think I've gotten really good at analyzing these ad manager denials, and I think I've been really good at picking up on the things that Google's flagging. I think it was a bit of a struggle bus for everyone here, but I think I've seen hundreds of them now. That I would say I'm pretty good at it. I'm not, of course, there's a lot I need to learn and get better at, but Grav, I can basically see the reason for your denial, and hopefully I'll be able to figure out exactly what Google is flagging. Google doesn't tell us exactly what they're flagging, so I'm not holding anything back. If Google told me, hey, this is the exact reason you're getting denied, I would 100% be transparent and tell you. I'm not holding back anything, I promise. But again, Rob, if you could reach out to me, let's get that dialed in. Mom Van says, I noticed a page in Google Search Console called Ezoic User Data Protection. What's that about? That is a good question. I'm just assuming it goes over the privacy policy and kind of basically what we can and cannot do with our data, full transparency wise. You can always click on it and give it a thorough read. Ezoic does not like to hide things. We're very transparent and honest. So you can go through and check that out and see where things go from there. Brittany said, Charlie, we can have a Zoom call. I am on the West Coast too. I have 2 websites I want to set up with Ezoic. Perfect. So we can help you set those up, and I can help you out one-on-one. We can do that through Twisto. We can't do it through a Zoom call, or we can do it right now if you would like. But if you've integrated and signed up the site, that means you do have an active invite to Twist, and we can do that there. LDC Polo says, I used a plagiarism checker and found that more than 10 websites copied all my posts within a few minutes. I'm worried that Google will penalize me for this. So you can actually flag this with Google, and you can actually, if you look it up, you can do like Google copied content, and you can actually go through the procedures there of actually how to report this. Google and Ezoic, like, and I essentially, we can also say, we can easily see that your content was actually, produced and published before theirs. That's something we can easily check, and that's kind of the verification stamp that that content is original to you and not to someone else. So yeah, you want to report that to Google. Awa Colt or Ewa Colt Ltd. Sorry if I butchered that. I see you have Alexis as your icon. I love that. I love cars. It looks like an IS300, maybe like one of the newer ones. Um, Sorry for going into that little rabbit hole, but hello, greetings to you as well. Um, Says, hey Charlie, good information, mad. I hear listening again, lol. Oh man. Okay, perfect. Super hype AT, welcome back. I know you've been here in the past, so welcome back. I'm happy to have you. And AWA Colt, if I butchered the Lexus on your screen, let me know what it is, and I'll make sure to correct myself. He says, thanks for the good work you are doing. Google domain review team has disreviewed my domain for the second time. Please, I need help. I can 100% help you with this. Again, I just need to know the reason for the denial. And then I can kind of go through and investigate your pages on my end. I did attach an article earlier that goes over maybe why am I getting denied by Ad Manager. This is an amazing article that we just produced. You guys probably have not read it yet, but I'm going to post it down in the bottom of the comment section again. You guys should go through there and check it out. It is a great resource. It kind of covers the main things you guys do get denied in terms of on the domain, and it actually goes through what changes you can do, what we kind of look to do on our end. I'm just gonna click this meeting room really quick. For some reason, it says it's empty. Clearly it's not because I'm in here and I reserved it, but we're good now. Cool. Sorry about that. Randall says, this is my website. It's 6 months old with 50 pages, still not approved by Google. Okay, let me check this out really quick. Awesome domain name though. I've actually recently had a conversation with a bunch of my friends and saying, if you could travel anywhere around the world, kind of what would be your ideal location to travel to? And for me, it would be Vietnam. I hear it's absolutely beautiful, and I would love to go. So maybe your domain is the best first thing I can check before I go there. So I see you're part of the income school. That's awesome. So the reason you're getting denied, Randall, is for low value content. And something that I would like to check, or that you should check, is the article I just sent. We actually cover this kind of directly. But let me take a quick gander here and see maybe if I can find it really quick. So when I see low value content though, Randall, the first thing I do, well, first off, the first thing I notice is that this is clearly a very high quality website. This is not a low quality website. The first thing I do is I click on all of the categories in your menu and make sure that there's sufficient content under each order, under each category there. So I see you have a contact page. That's awesome. I like how you have 8 plus 3 equals. 8 plus 3 equals 11, because I went to math class. That looks fine. I will say under the contact us page, I think it's sometimes good to just add an email. So if they actually just want to reach out to you directly, they can do that. So I would say maybe add an email there. That's probably not the most important thing here. Privacy policy looks awesome. I'm now checking out budget. Aha. So Randall, I have the exact reason right now why Google is denying your domain for low value content. When I clicked on budget under the menu, or yeah, when I clicked on the category budget in your menu, it leads me to 1, 2, 3, 4 articles in total. And Google's going to flag this every single time and say that this is low value content, even though obviously these articles are great. Basically, what Google wants to see is they want to see 6 or more articles under this category. So if I were to click budget, I should see 6 articles or more. I agree, it's a little ridiculous. I don't know why they're so adamant about it. But that's the exact reason why you're getting denied for low value content. If I go under catamarans, I see 2 pages of articles. That's beautiful. That's exactly what Google wants to see as well. I'll also go through the sailing. The sailing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Has tons of articles. That's beautiful. That's not the issue. Solar, I go to solar, and then now the solar category only has 2 articles under it. So that's also going to be the reason why it's being denied for low value content. You just need to add sorry, couldn't speak English there. You just need to add more articles underneath those categories. I'll do the same for world. So the world category only has 1 article. That's going to be the reason why. And then if I go to the water one, that one only has 2. So I think, Randall, your best action right now is to maybe consolidate some of the categories in your menu that only have a few articles, consolidate those categories maybe into one larger, broader, more vague category. That way you can have, one of them had 4, one of them had 3, one of them had 2, one of them had 2. So let's just consolidate those under one realm. And that way that category can have 12 articles in total under it. And I'm very confident that if you were to make those changes and resubmit for to Google, you'll get an approval. Don't mark my word for that, but I'm very confident in saying that because clearly this is a very high quality site. And then the last thing I want to touch up on for if you guys are seeing low value content, you want to make sure that no articles are repeated under different categories of your menu. So in Randall's case, he has one category that says budget and one that says, bad example. Let's say one category says world and one says water. Let's say you have an article that kind of covers both of these topics. If you have the article posted under both world and water, Google will flag that for low value content. So you want to make sure that each article is under only one category of your menu at a time. But that's exactly what Google's denying your domain for, and I'm very positive, very confident saying that. By the way, I'm accepted Ezoic Premium Diamond Plan. Beautiful. That's awesome. I love to hear that. I know you've been here week after week, so clearly you're persistent. You're working hard. That's something that we'll recognize and the data will show. That's basically how you can increase your chances of being accepted premium. So super hype, everyone. Quick round of applause. Well done. I'm very happy for you. Gaurav says, upgrading my hosting can increase my lab score and revenue. When you mean lab score, I'm assuming you mean your Core Web Vitals. So if you actually go into your Core Web Vitals, you can basically see everything that's being flagged and hindering site speed. If your initial server response time is something that's very crucial and kind of, it's really hindering site speed, then I would say maybe upgrading your hosting plan will help, as long as you are sure that it will also decrease your initial server response time so it's quicker. That is something we'll flag. But so I will say yes, if it does help with site speed a good bit and your initial server response time does go down a lot, that will help with your Core Web Vitals. That will help with site speed. So that'll help with both your rankings and user experience, and in turn will help with revenue. Maybe not as drastic as some other changes, but that will be a benefit and a good move forward. Good information. Okay, awesome. Brittany, let me somewhere. Bless me, sorry. Gotcha. Okay. So this is exactly it. So I remember we were talking about, if you guys are not familiar, Brittany gave me her domain name, but essentially she was seeing a message in her dashboard that says there's a compatibility issue with her DNS. And right away, when I go to this error on our backend, I can see, there's a compatibility issue detected. Your site is being served securely through HTTPS through your origin server, but the way it's being served, it's not allowing our certification to be installed. So I am going to see if we can make those changes from our end before you do anything on yours. Cool. So I just sent that over to the team so they can double check, just to make sure that we can serve our cert. Let me make sure all the settings are actually in order so we can run it. Make sure it's not me being a ding dong. Okay, everything there looks great. Cool. So yeah, that was going to be the second point that I talked about earlier. This was an SSL issue, but we should be able to get that solved for you right now. And if you need action required on your end, I can let you know. Are you saying if I'm using Ezoic, I don't have to pay for my host for SSL? That is correct. I would reach out. I know you're on premium, so I would reach out to your account manager before doing this. But I did recently see one of our publishers was being asked by GoDaddy to pay $99 a month for SSL. That hurts my head, and it makes me frustrated that GoDaddy is willing to do that. It's basically saying, pay $100 a month for SSL. That is beyond me. Again, it's offered for free through Ezoic. It'll be automatically updated and kind of renewed before it ever even expires. So again, it's not something you have to worry about. GoDaddy was the host that was doing this. This is not me calling out GoDaddy. It's just saying if GoDaddy is asking you for $100 to pay for SSL, I would probably tell them to take a hike and just use our SSL for free through Ezoic. Again, reach out to your account manager as you have one, super hype, and make sure that everything's dialed in that way. We don't want your site going down without SSL actually being active. But yeah, you do not have to pay for SSL. It is for free through Ezoic. Ezoic is all inclusive. We want to give you all the tools to success without, sucking every last dollar out of you, because that's just not right. That's not what this platform is about. That's not the main initiative. The initiative is that we give you all the tools to succeed, not the tools to charge you subscriptions. No, it's not the way we work here. Perfect, David. I'll see you in Twist. I appreciate you going in there. My posts show non-canonical error sometimes. What would be the cause for that? It's harming how things get indexed. Great question. This is probably another error with your DNS. I would say, regarding in Canada, go to your host DNS and make sure that the Ezoic DNS match exactly what you have at your host. We want to make sure that your CDN or your website is also routing through our CDN. But again, I can take a look at this and make sure everything's getting indexed. Another thing you want to make sure is that when you're looking at the DNS records, you want to make sure that the A record IP at your host is the same, or excuse me, the IP in Ezoic for your A record is the same as the A record IP at your host. That way, when Google is actually trying to index and fetch your site, fetch your pages, that is actually going to the correct server. To add to that, I don't think I've seen you in here before, so I would say welcome. Thanks for joining. John Rambo says nope. Thanks for clarification. Oh, I think he was. Okay, so John was answering your question about the SSL. Okay, I appreciate that, John. Thanks for chiming in there. So Surprise says, hey Charlie, when I put my settings to 100%, my AdSense revenue drops significantly, but my Ezoic really doesn't really increase. It works perfectly for me at 90-95%. It's strange. So that is strange, but I will say that there's so many other factors that go to this on a day-by-day basis. So if you do set it to 100%, I think honestly the best thing to do is to at least give it like 2 weeks time, because it won't be the most immediate change. Because think about maybe if you enable 100% traffic on Thursday, and then Friday's the next day, and you're like, dang, my earnings are lower. What the heck is going on? Well, maybe you check back that historically your site sees less visits on a Friday just because maybe users are less adamant on Fridays, or maybe you write a lot about content about universities or schools or something. So maybe during the week it's more relevant. But again, that's kind of be something that we do want to dial in and make sure. But that's just something you should consider. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. It could also be because you could see the same number of visits the next day, and the extra 5 to 10% is also seeing Ezoic version, so you should be seeing an increase. Your EPMV should still be rather similar, but if you're seeing more traffic, then you should be seeing more revenue for sure. Rob says, Charlie, how do I contact you? I will actually give you my email down in the comment section below. I won't be able to offer support essentially through this like that. But what I can basically do is to make sure that you do have an avenue of support to get. So I might say, hey, you actually are in Twist still. You can reach out to us here. I can send you a new invite, blah, blah, blah. Or I can say, hey, you're in the community now. We can work through there. Or I can say, hey, you're actually in tickets still. You have it integrated. So I will drop my email down in the comment section. You guys can reach out to me if you are curious about where you can go get support. I won't be able to offer support again one-on-one there, but I can help you and guide you in the right direction. Odin Lumen says my top 5 traffic locations for the last 7 days, according to Google Analytics, is 50% US, 12% Nigeria, India, South Korea, and the UK. So of course, the US and the UK are going to be the higher earning EPMVs out of those 5 areas. But we do want to make sure that we are actually checking the Ezoic analytics, not Google Analytics. Google Analytics basically collects data via JavaScript. So you basically, you guys add that script to your pages. But Ezoic actually tracks data server side, which is a lot more accurate, but it also won't be a perfect transition from the data in GA to Ezoic. What I mean by this is it's very normal. Let's say if you have 100 visits a day, and let's say you're seeing 100 visits in GA, that there can normally be a 10 to 15% variance in Ezoic. So if you're seeing 85 visits in Ezoic and 100 on GA, that's normal. And on the same side, if you're seeing 100 visits in GA and 115 in Ezoic, that's also normal. So a little bit of a variance is normal, but again, that variance won't be as much in terms of the location of your users. So if you're seeing 50% US traffic with a $3 to $4 EPMV, this is for sure something that we want to look into. I know you also have Nigerian Indian traffic. So let's say maybe some of your articles are in Arabic or in other different languages. I want you to think about how that obviously will play an effect on US traffic, as most people primarily only speak English and Spanish and maybe some French in the US. I actually won't even give us that credit. Most of us just speak English and we'll call it quits there. That's just the reality of the situation. But again, Oran Lumen, if you are in Twist, I would definitely say go ahead, open a thread, and we can kind of deep dive this a lot farther and make sure just everything's set up correctly. Constantine Edwards says, hello, Charlie. Hello, Constantine. Welcome back. I know you've been here before, so I would say happy Thursday. Thanks for joining again. Do I need to enable Adsense Mediation to increase my EPMV, or can I leave it and it will eventually go up? So your EPMV will go up over time as our AI learns your site, of course. But if you are looking to increase EPMV, this can help. Enabling mediation will definitely help. You can do this underneath the monetization tab of your dashboard. I talked about it a bit earlier, but enabling those more ad networks to basically bid on your inventory will only provide you better results and better revenue. So I will say that it will help. But yes, you don't have to do this. This is your domain. You can do whatever you like, whatever you please is 100% up to you. But it will eventually go up, yes, as it learns your site. But I would suggest enabling it if possible. Psycot says, hey Charlie, thanks for the live stream. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. As you may remember, I've opened a Twist thread about the Cloudflare integration options not available on my dashboard. Still now my problem is not solved. Okay, so I think you actually reached out to me via email as well, or maybe you did not. But I actually asked our team about this one specifically. And one thing I did not know, and is a new learn for me today, is that actually, oh wait, Where did I post it? I'm not seeing the message. But some of our hosts actually are not compatible when routing through Cloudflare. So some of our, if depending on who your host is, you can let me know, and I can ask for you. But essentially, Cloudflare integration is not offered for every host, just because we noticed that some hosts is not compatible with our Cloudflare and our CDN integration. But I did ask our tech team all of the hosts that are compatible, that are not compatible with our Cloudflare option. So if you want to reach out to me in Twist again and say, hey, this is my host, can you check for me? Absolutely, I'll go ahead and do that for you. Hey Charlie, I create my ad manager account, but I still don't know how to connect to Ezoic. Any solution? Yes, there's for sure a solution, but I just want to. It'll be really hard for me to dissect this without actually seeing it. So please go into Twist or comment your domain name down in the comment section. I can check. Esther says, I'm really struggling with changing hosts without losing all my blogs in WordPress. Is there a paid service in Ezoic to help with the process? I am not tech savvy. No. There is not a paid service, and it's actually a self-service system now because it is new and we don't have the most extensive support for this quite yet. We do have a support article on transferring to our WordPress hosting, so please find the knowledge base articles, type in the WordPress hosting app, you'll see it there. But basically, to ensure that you're not losing any of your site files, one of the first steps it's going to tell you to do is to actually go in and download a backup of your site files. That way, if something were to go wrong, which it has not, you'll still have all your files saved as a backup. So I would 100% do that. But again, we can also help mediate this in Twist. We won't be able to offer as much support as we do on other things, as it is a self-service program, but we can kind of orchestrate it still. Esther also says, I keep getting ads block content on my site. I've removed the location several times, but Google ads keep appearing. So if it's appearing on the same page over and over after you deleted them, maybe you might want to just clear your cache and view an incognito tab. But if you are removing it on one page and you're seeing it on another, that probably means you are disabling that ad for that page, but it'll still be found on other detected pages. So if a placeholder is creating an issue on one page and every other page it shows on, I would say that's the only appropriate time you can actually delete a placeholders. Other than that, there are other things we can do to actually make sure that the ad fills in the perfect spot and does not cover content. That is something we can easily do. If you added placeholders through the plugin, we can actually just change some of the option settings under the ad tester settings there. It's just to make sure that they show up, maybe later or earlier on the page so it doesn't attach. Or maybe you're saying I added placeholders through the plugin and they're attaching to certain divs, elements, or classes that I don't want them to. We can actually create insertion rules so the plugin will basically bypass and ignore certain places on the page to attach to. We have added some things, so I think now we automatically bypass tables, like table class and divs. We also bypass like li and ol, so like lists. We also bypass those. But again, we can dig more into this if you post into Twist. But if you added them all through the Chrome extension, I would just see if it is creating an issue on all pages, and if it is, delete the placeholder. And if it's not creating issues on all pages, only one, simply edit the placeholder and press remove placeholder from this page, and that'll only remove it from that page. It'll stay on others. I have Google domain approval. Okay, amazing. That is awesome. Oh wait, but you're struggling with the account. That most likely means you're gonna actually have to just log into your ad manager dashboard and make sure that everything is set up there. Sometimes you have to complete some setup steps like your billing information or tax information, and that's actually all you have to do. But again, reach out to us and I can double check that. Randall says, thanks for your kind and informative advice. Of course, I'm happy to help, Randall, and I'm very, very confident that that is really going to help you with this review. So Super Hype says, thanks for the help, Charlie. You know your stuff. I wouldn't say I know my stuff, but I'm saying I'm learning my stuff. I think when a company like Ezoic moves so quickly, there's a lot you have to learn when you start, and it takes a while to learn. And then things change so frequently with Google alone, not even Ezoic, so you have to learn. Ezoic is changing its processes and its features all the time, so I'm learning then. So I appreciate the kind comment, but I would say that I'm just still in the learning phase. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. So yeah, he says, super hype. I paid $99 a year. This hurts my heart. This hurts your wallet. This hurts my wallet. This hurts my eyeballs reading it. Honestly, it's a little bit infuriating. I'm hoping. I think this is GoDaddy. I believe we were talking with another publisher recently, but let's get this dialed in ASAP, because by the time August rolls around, I don't want you paying that $99. Oh, you pay $99 a year. Still, for some reason, I read that as a month. But yeah, that's ridiculous. That is absurd. That's the reason why companies like Ezoic can come in and kind of provide such a beneficial service, because we're not looking to suck out the last dollar out of every one of you. We're just trying to give you guys all the tools for free to succeed, and that's it. So, that's something I firmly believe in. I wouldn't work for a company that is kind of slimy and does that. I'm not saying that this company is slimy in any way, shape, or form. I don't know even who this is. But I will say that I was very comfortable coming to work for Ezoic, knowing that they're going to do everything in their abilities to help you all. Kind of keeps my conscience clear. I wouldn't want to go and put all that effort into someone that is not looking to provide you guys the best effort. I promise you that. But I agree. What is the appropriate response? $99 is way too much, and it drives me insane. Why ads click data can't see in the report? So this is actually going to be found under yield reporting. Yield reporting is actually not available unless you pay for Ezoic Pro. You do have all the features and data you need in the analytics to grow and help succeed your account. But if you are interested in this yield report, reach out to us and we can kind of show you where you can kind of sign up for that. Yes, so Coffee Lover, I did answer this earlier. As long as the content is original and not found on other websites and it abides by all the policies, then you will get approved on your own social media site, assuming that you own the canonical root domain, as you will have to integrate VRCDN. But I did also attach earlier all the basic ad policy requirements in order to monetize with Ezoic. So everything's out there. It's all transparent. There's no surprises. You can read through that and basically make sure that you comply fully there. Will Ezoic provide more detailed information about Ezoic video and when it will be out of beta? Right now, using YouTube to host video seems so much easier. Thank you. So you actually can host your videos through YouTube, and then you can actually just embed the videos through YouTube to Ezoic. That is very straightforward process. I've done that myself. But I think we like to keep things in beta, not because they're brand new and we don't know what's going on, but the fact that we found that the product works and it's beneficial for basically everyone, but it's not fully foolproof yet. We're continually optimizing, kind of like our AI works. We're not going to just push out a feature and then work on the next one. It's like, you know what? We've built out this feature. It's really great. It's providing a lot of benefit and service for others. But let's run it, and then we're gonna have to tweak it and keep our eye on it and kind of make adjustments for next months moving forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if video is in beta for another year. That doesn't mean it's beta and you can't trust it. It's just basically meaning that we're still making changes, we're making improvements. We have a whole video team dedicated to this, and so yeah, I wouldn't be as focused on the word beta, more on the fact that we're continually working to optimize this and really spruce things up there. Is there a reason to use the Google Sitekit plugin if we are using Ezoic? So correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you use the Sitekit to basically add some of the Google script to your site. So if you do want to track data like analytics through GA, then you can use the sitekit to add that code and keep it there. If you're also split testing between Ezoic and Adsense, and you want to make sure that Adsense code is on your domain, so that's another reason why you can use sitekit. Correct me if I'm wrong there. If you're only using Ezoic and not Google Adsense at all, then I don't think you will need it. My hosting supports Cloudflare integration. I can say this because I have another domain host on the same hosting account that I've integrated to Cloudflare from the Ezoic dashboard, and my ads are showing on the site normally. And my hosting is Hostinger. Oh yeah, you can 100%. I will definitely go into that thread. Can you just comment there and say, hey Charlie, I'm here. I'm sure Tucker and Taylor will respond and try to help you out there. We can definitely do that. But yeah, one thing I would just say, if you aren't seeing the Cloudflare option to integrate, this is for anyone. This most likely means that your authoritative name servers at your registrar are not pointed towards Cloudflare. Sometimes you point your, if you're in hosting or you're like, oh, my name servers are pointed to Cloudflare. We actually want to make sure that you go to your registrar, not your host, and because that's where the authoritative name servers are, and those are going to have to point to Cloudflare. And then if you do make those changes to point them to Cloudflare, we want to give it maybe a couple hours minimum for our system to detect that. And once they all show Cloudflare and our system detects that, then we can offer the Cloudflare option. Constantine says, thanks for the insight. I have AdSense account, however, for now I have switched the ads off. Do you have any article on how to go about initiating mediation? Yes, absolutely. I will actually say that this link right here is the best first thing. It is the best first thing you guys should all check out. This is basically a link to our knowledge base articles, and you can basically search up anything you're having, and there probably will be an article covered on this. I'll say our marketing team has been grown a lot recently, and in the last month, like in last month to 40 days, they've produced 40 articles. So there's so much out there for you guys. Basically, everything that you guys have ever asked has been written out in a support article. Support articles are great because you can reread them. They use the proper word choice. Sometimes I word vomit, as you guys know, and I try to get my point across, but the articles are very articulate and broken down well. There's graphs and there's visuals, sometimes videos. So that's where I would always say, hey, go there and check out for anything, or check out for an article for anything you're having an issue with. So Constantine, in yours, I'll say, I'll go to this, I'll go to this page. I'll say, oh, here's this one. I typed in mediation. It says Google AdSense and the mediation app. And this basically will walk you exactly through what to do in order to enable AdSense mediation. So there's that article for you right there. All right, I'm finally all caught up on questions. Sorry if I was kind of trying to go quick because I was a little bit far behind, and I think sometimes when people ask questions and they have to wait 15 minutes for me to answer it, it's probably not the best experience for you all. So I was trying to catch up and go through quickly, so that way I can actually answer people's questions while I still have their attention. So if I covered something a little bit too quickly and you want me to circle back, please let me know and go do that. I can easily do that. Yeah, my modern cave earlier said, oh, here's my domain. Yeah, for some reason, he says my domain, or she says my domain is not appearing. I did not see it either. I typed it quite a few times. That's very interesting. My modern cave. I just put my email down in the comment section. Just send me a quick email with your domain name, and I can actually check that out right now. That is weird though, because I saw others posted their domain name and there was no issues. Lofi says, when I integrated my main domain with Ezoic, my subdomain stopped working. Okay, so yeah, you want to make sure that you actually add your subdomain DNS records to Ezoic. And then when you do that, we can actually just double check the DNS records to make sure everything is correct, and then we can actually turn them on to make sure they're routed through our CDN. So Lofi, please head to Twist, let them know you integrated, let them know you want your subdomain to be routed through our CDN. We can just quickly check your subdomain, make sure everything is in order there, and then we can simply route that through our CDN and turn it on. But yeah, I would do that right now, and that's an easy fix for us. We can easily do that. Odin Lumen says, is it possible to customize Humix directly on my website? Great question. I can ask this for you. Let me see. I'm hoping it is, and if it's not, it's a feature request I can for sure add for you. If you're curious and you want this feature, I'm sure that there's plenty others that also want this. So great suggestion, honestly. Let me see if I can find a quick answer for you. Okay, there's nothing I can see there, but I just typed it out to the team to see if I can kind of get an answer for you rather quickly. But great question. And I'll try to get that for you. Cool, guys. Well, I'm all caught up on questions. Constantine says, I appreciate Ezoic support, especially for us who are growing. It's real frustrating to start a blogging journey without a personalized support. So I agree. It's really frustrating to start a blogging journey without a personalized support. Hopefully this is personalized enough for you. If it's not, please let us know, and we can really try to improve that, because I think, a lot of companies kind of like to set up their business strategies, and then they'll set up the support, but they kind of think of support as kind of like a just like an avenue or a task. But for us, it's really like a full-time thing. For a lot of us, it's the end all be all, because if you guys are having a terrible time on the platform and reach out to support and have a terrible time in support, that's just a no-go. I would say, user experience for someone on a domain is very important. I think user experience for someone in a company is very important as well. So we're more than happy to go above and beyond for you all. And that's also, I kind of talk about this a lot, but that's why I love Ezoic so much, from a non-biased perspective, because they're really willing, to take a hit on their own end in order to give you guys the best benefit and give you guys all the tools for success. If you guys think about it, Ezoic was built out for really big sites, that get kind of like sourced through our sales team. And when this Access Now program came on, they literally opened up the floodgates and said, here's access to absolutely everything that every other publisher already has access to. We're not going to limit it at all. Of course, we don't have account managers for every single domain, as the scale team sees hundreds of thousands of sites. Sorry, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or maybe 1,000 sites. So we can't offer it like that, but we do really care about support, and we do really care about you all, because it is huge. Will I also earn money if my videos are watched through Humix? Yes, you will. And I believe those reports will show through the data, through the analytics, excuse me. But yes, so that is exactly how Humix will work. You'll basically kind of upload your videos there, and then when you see a bunch of people, visit your site, visit those videos, you can actually see an improvement in earnings. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with our CEO, Dwayne. Dwayne is kind of a genie in in many different ways, but he's been a bit more active on Twitter recently. He kind of posted a picture of his own domain. Basically, it shows his EPMB and earnings the day Humix was enabled, and you can basically see an immediate jump in earnings from there. I think that's a great point, case and example. Dwayne is also super transparent, blunt, and honest, so he will not be manipulative and kind of showing you what you guys want to hear or showing you guys what you want to see. He'll basically show you the data. He won't say, yeah, I earned so much money through Humix, you should all do it too. He'll say, hey guys, look, this is a screenshot of the data. This is all the data I have, and this is exactly when I enabled Humix, and the results are there for me. So yeah, we don't go out on a whim and make these assumptions or statements without providing it with the relevant data. Awesome. I love to hear that. And we're really, yeah, we'll really go above and beyond for you guys. We really will, I promise. My modern keeps the HLA. Okay. So I did give you my email. Let me see if you sent me your domain name yet. I'm not seeing it yet. So Modern Cave, if you want to send me a really quick email and just say, hey, this is my domain name, I can check it out for you really quick. My laptop is on the verge of dying, not quite yet. This computer will be fine, so I won't be ending it quite yet. But yeah, send me a quick email, and that way that for sure will go through. Because I'm definitely not seeing your messages, which is very odd. And there's nowhere else you guys can ask questions that I know of. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I'm not. That's very odd. Oh, you did. You emailed it to me. What the heck? How am I not getting an email from you? Um, that's probably another thing we want to look into to make sure that if so. This might not be the exact point in case scenario here, but if you guys ever see errors or like, hey, I integrated with Ezoic, now my email's not working, what's going on? 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to be missing MX, DKIM records, or TXT records. Essentially, mail records that exist at your host, but that have not been added in Ezoic yet. So now, once you're routing through our CDN, um, you just want to make sure that all the MX records are there, and that's basically why your email is not working. So if you see MX records or DKIM records or TXT records that exist at your host but not in Ezoic, go ahead and add them in the Ezoic dashboard exactly as they appear as your host, and you'll be good. I already see it in my send section. Wait, my modern cave. To be honest, I don't remember exactly what the initial issue was. Oh, add manager review. Right. Why am I not getting this email? Which is weird because I just got an email 30 seconds ago from someone else, but and what's your email coming from? Or what the heck? Wait, are you sending it to me through? Yeah, it's super odd. I'm not getting the emails on my end. Did I type it wrong? Did I type the email wrong? No, it's correct. Okay, maybe it's just gonna take a second to load, or maybe it's because I'm in this room. But yeah, I will be able to check that, and I'll basically just give you a good response, exactly why. But internet marketing, educate as well. I did not see your email. I sent it again just in case there was some type of spelling mistake, but I will make sure that we get that covered. I'm also curious. Oh wait, I'm a ding dong. Okay, I found your domain. Sorry about that. Okay, so I do not see a previous reason for the denial, which means it has not been reviewed and then resent back in yet. I'm talking about Modern Cave. And checking it out. So I see the site was sent in for Google review on 7/9. So that was exactly 7. That was exactly 12 days ago. So technically these can take 2 weeks, I believe is the longest. So since you submitted it on 7/9, the 2 week mark will be the 23rd. So while this is annoying that Google's already taken 12 days, the longest it will take, for the most part, will be 14, which is 2 weeks, of course. So you should see a completion of the review by the 23rd. To the other you guys have um, to the other you guys sending me emails with your domains, can you also add just a quick description of exactly what the issue was again? Because like CNN Travel says just sent you an email, but I just want to make sure that I know exactly what's going on there too. Oran Lumen says the video views on Humix doesn't match what is reported on my videos dashboard. So the videos dashboard will actually be through your video placeholders that you've added and through the videos that you've actually added to your pages, not the Humix one. So that's probably why you're seeing discrepancy and variance there. One Life Passport, welcome back. Great to see you again. How can I optimize my site for ads? Placeholders to maximize revenue. Also, I still can't hook up my YouTube to Ezoic. It keeps giving me an error for over a week now, or for a week now. The best way you can optimize your placeholders is to enable WordPress plugin placeholders, add more placeholders through the Ezoic plugin, enable all ad formats including AI, enhanced, vignette, etc. That way you're basically giving our AI the most amount of variables to test. The more variables our AI can test, the better the results will be in the displayment of the ads. The better the displayment is, the better the UX will be. The better the UX is, the better the revenue will be. To add to that, you want to make sure that you have a very high variance in your placeholders that you use. So you want to make sure that you have top of the bottom, or sorry, top of the page, bottom of the page, mid content at the top, mid content at the bottom. You want sidebar top, sidebar middle, sidebar floating, enable vignette. But yeah, you want to make sure that your placeholders are very dense on every page with a bunch of different types of ads to show. But yeah, that's gonna be the best umbrella answer I can give you without fully going into it one-on-one. Yes, Rob says, HI Rob, can you take a look at my site? Yes, I'll absolutely do that for you. What is your domain, Gaurav? I don't see CNN Travel. Oh wait, CCN, duh. I said CNN. Sorry about that. Okay, so I can see that Google is currently reviewing your domain, and the previous reason for the denial was low value content. So I'm going to go about this the same way I went over Randall's domain, and basically go through your menu to basically make sure that everything is showing there as it should. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on destination, and I'll basically see that, there's a handful of articles there, which looks great. Malta, Poland, best hotels, Dubai, Utah, this looks awesome. Solo travel, I see a bunch of articles there, that looks great. This looks really good so far, by the way, great job. Now I'm into the couple travel, honeymoons in Bali, honeymoon guide, tons of articles there, that looks great. Now I'm going to go to budget travel. So I'm basically just going through the different categories of your menu to basically make sure that there's enough content under each one. Budget travel looks great. And travel tips also looks great. So my next thought here is I didn't look at it as intensely the first time I went through. But you want to make sure that each category of your menu has a bunch of articles, but you also want to make sure that each category has articles unique to that category only, which means you can't have articles posted under travel tips and destinations. Google will flag that as low value content because there's duplicates. So that's something I would say you should check on your end. The other thing you should add, which is not as important but is pretty vital, is to add a contact us and privacy policy link to your menu. That will also help out a lot. But I honestly think in terms of this site, the content's great. It's well organized. Yeah, I think the one thing you should just check to make sure, and I can't do it because there's kind of a good amount of articles, is just to make sure that no articles repeat under two different categories of the menu. Solomon says, hi, Charlie, or hello. How are you? Great to see you. Happy to have you. Hi. If I get rejected from Ezoic, after how many days can I reapply? So the status of all your reapplies and monetization will all be found underneath the monetization tab of your dashboard. It'll tell you when you can reapply. There's a couple things that can come into play here. Obviously, when you were denied, but also the reason for the denial. If we found like hacking content, download articles, or really malicious content, a re-review might not even be valid. If your site was denied for scraped content, we basically give you the opportunity to go back through and make sure that you delete all scraped content and reapply. If scraped content is found a second time, you'll have to wait 6 months to reapply. If you get found for invalid traffic for the first time, we'll basically deny your site and you'll have to wait 6 months, and then you can reapply. But if you get denied for invalid traffic and then you really boost your SEO efforts and really start to improve your organic traffic, you can always reach out to us and say, hey, Charlie, I've made a ton of efforts over the last 3 months. Do you think you can take a double check at my data? I'll say absolutely, I can do that for you. But all the information regarding reapplies will basically be found underneath the monetization tab of your dashboard. Okay, I didn't see the privacy policy and contact us at the bottom. Oh, my computer just died. That's okay. So that's great. So I think you should just check to make sure that you do not have any articles repeating twice under them, because that will be deemed low value content by Google. Let me find this article for you again. This will actually touch up on this CNN or Guarov. Hopefully I'm not butchering that, but I'll pin it too. Voila, that one right there. That'll basically go over a majority of what I said, but it might give you better visual representation of exactly what I'm trying to say. I know sometimes I kind of come out word vomit. I don't do that on purpose. But of course, I'm happy to help with that. And we're coming up on 2 hours now, so I am going to wrap this up shortly. If you guys want to ask some last minute questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those. I can go through some old topics that I talked about. Maybe you want some more clarification. Maybe I described it in a poor way, but simply let me know and I'll be happy to go back and circle through. But I will use this time to say, thank you guys so much for joining. It seems like this is working out for you guys, which is great. I enjoy it a lot because I don't, it gives me kind of a different way I get to reach out to you all. It gives me an opportunity to show you guys that we actually do care about you guys a bunch. CCN travel, navigation and layout is great. No issues there at all. Content under the articles look great. The categories of your menu look great. They're not the same. But yeah, we can. That definitely looks really good. Sparkling Silver says, hi. I have optimized my website for ads as suggested by Ezoic. My website gets a good amount of traffic too, but I'm surprised on how my earnings and ratio of the traffic are dropping down. Can you help? Absolutely. Are you in Twist? And if not, could you please head there now and post this in a thread? And I'll basically walk out of this room. I'll be in Twist for basically the rest of the day. And then I can help you out there. There's a lot of things we can look into. Actually, earlier in this live stream, Sparkling Silvers, I kind of covered everything that I looked through on my end. Not everything, but majority of what I looked through on my end when I'm just looking at someone's EPMV and kind of seeing if something is wrong. So once this is over, you can actually rewatch that. And I think it starts around the 10-minute mark, where I basically pull up one of our domains and then I walk through that. I even look at some of the analytics, some of the features enabled or not enabled. But anyway, I can also check out my email to make sure that, if you're in Access Now Pub, that you are in Twist. And then I can actually send you to Twist. I can open a thread for you and basically say, hey, X, Y, Z is something we can improve on, or these are the adverse effects due to, these metrics. That's kind of why your EPMV is at this point. But then I can also point you in the right direction of trying to increase EPMV. Increase was my word. Increase EPMV. But awesome. Thank you for sending me that. I'll definitely check that out and I'll give you a response there. Is it important to have a sidebar for additional monetization opportunities? I would say yes, for sure. I also think this is a really good way you can kind of, help orchestrate where your user kind of goes on your domain. I think one of the best things that we always talk about in video is you actually get to control what is being shown in terms of content. So learn garage doors and more. Let's say you have a really good article on, X garage doors. Awesome. You might have a sidebar that says like related articles or recent articles, and you can have an ad above that. You can have an ad below that, and then even have a floating sidebar ad, which all perform very well. To add to that, having a sidebar will not only allow you to show more, viewability of ads on the screen, it can also provide you an opportunity to direct your users to other pages or other articles that you've written. So you might say, hey, I have this other awesome article on adding Swiss tracks to your garage. So then someone could say, now I have this awesome garage door that I learned about. Now I can go read about maybe adding Swiss tracks or some bougie, floor surface to your garage. And then, of course, what that does, that also increases the engagement of the user on your domain for a longer period of time. More page views. They're going to be seeing more ads. They're going to be reading more of your content. It's a win-win for everyone. So I would say adding a sidebar is a great opportunity. Should I completely turn off Google AdSense? If you're running 100% traffic through Ezoic, I would say yes, you can turn it off, but you should enable Adsense Mediation. That way, you can allow the AdSense partners to bid against the Ezoic partners to ensure that you're basically earning as much as possible for your inventory. That's pretty important. If you'd like to keep everything under Ezoic and not have to, worry about impressions and earnings also being paid out through AdSense, you can do that. But I think just to give you my best advice from my end, I think if you're trying to earn as much as possible, then enabling AdSense mediation is in your best interest, as you will basically be optimizing your earnings. Another good thing that I haven't really talked about in terms of optimizing your EPMV, and I probably should have gone over in my walkthrough earlier, is actually the levels dashboard. The levels dashboard will gauge basically how optimized you are from a beginner novice to an experienced / expert standpoint. So if you're missing out on certain features or revenue in certain areas, Leap will kind of guide you in that direction. But that's a great one. Yes. How are you? I'm so happy you joined. I know you normally join in around this time, so I can help. He says, "Hi Charlie, hope you're well. Have a question. What does the cache hit rate mean on my dashboard?" So cache is basically us, you know, temporarily holding your site pages and files to basically be served directly from our CDN. So that way we can change the user request path. Let's say, guys, if I was going to your site for the first time with no cache, um, well, actually, it sounds like at this time you know maybe what cache is. You're just asking about the cache hit rate. So basically, what the cache hit rate is, total requests divided by cache hits equals, what your cache misses will be. Um, I believe I said that right. But essentially, your cache hit rate will be, the rate at which your users are actually being served cached pages. So the higher the percentage of your cache hit rate, the better. That means the more percentage of your users are actually being served cache pages. Of course, the pages are the same, but the speed at which they're being delivered is different. So a cache hit rate of being higher is best, and your cache hit rate will basically be the rate at which your users are being served cached pages. If you're looking at how to improve that, we have tons of articles on that will really be beneficial. Our analytics is also built out to basically show which pages are not being hit and also the reason why. So you can really dissect from there. You can also go to the analytics. You'll see speed, and then you'll see like caching, and you click Ezoic caching. You can find your cache misses. Again, it'll give you the URL and the reason why. You can also click on that URL, take you to the actual page, and then you can use the Chrome extension to see more information on that there. How many articles are required to get approval from Ezoic? We don't exactly have a explicit number saying, oh, if you don't have X amount, then you're not. I would probably say, I don't know, 10 to 15 plus, 15 more the merrier, I would say. But yeah, I would say if you have 4 articles, and even if they're all pretty well written out, I would probably suggest adding more. Even if Zoic can improve your domain with, let's say, 10 articles, Ad Manager might ask you to add more articles, but I would say 10, 15, 20, 400. I'm kidding. But yeah, maybe around the 15 article range. It's also important just the quality of the articles you're writing. So I wouldn't try to expedite this time frame and say, you know, write as many articles in the next 10 minutes as you can. But yeah, that's basically the best answer I can give. Yes, I will again check my email right after this. My computer is dead, so I will do that directly after, and I'll respond to you there. Happy to help, happy to cover that. My Search Console report on Zoic Big Data Analytics is about 200% lower than my actual Google Search Console report. So hold on. This is probably something best to do in Twist. This is probably going to require some troubleshooting. We're going to probably ask for screenshots of your Google Search Console. And then we can check the data on our end, and we can make sure that everything's authorized correctly. We can make sure there's no errors in your Google Search Console. We can make sure there's no error pages. We also make sure that the DNS records are in order. We want to make sure the IP record is correct. But again, there's just a lot of things we want to look into, but this is definitely something we can help troubleshoot. I went to my site from one account and used the other account, but when add my site and other account, then showing already in use domain. So that's because you cannot have more than one Ezoic account. Having more than one Ezoic account is actually against Ezoic policy. You can add as many domains to one account as you can, but AJ, we should be focusing on just using the original account and just having all the domains under the original account, because creating a new one, as you can tell, won't work unless we remove it. But depending on the reason why you're trying to create a new account, most likely creating a new account, and if we were to help you with this, we'll just create more issues in the long end than the original ones you probably had. So again, AJ, go into Twist, we can help you out. Guys, says Google AdSense, we need a certain number of articles in each category for approval first. You're exactly right about that. So good point. That's exactly correct. Odin also asked, does Q&A website get lower EPMV than blog website? There's tons of things that go into this EPMB question. There's a pretty cool article we actually wrote on this. Let me find it. Here we go. This is kind of a cool article for you, Odon Lumen. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I know I've said that a bunch. But it basically goes over the top earning website categories of 2020. Another one I want to add here is basically why does revenue kind of go up and down, and it kind of covers all the different things that kind of go into this calculation. But it'll also help you understand that it's not just one or two metrics that kind of calculate EPMB, but there's actually so many things that actually go into this calculation, which is a good thing because it's accurate and works very well. Okay, we're now at 11, and I'm afraid I'm gonna get kicked out of this room any minute. So I'm actually gonna have to wrap this up there. Again, I want to say thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'll be more than happy to do this next week. Now that we have Taylor on board, and she's kind of been kicking butt as it is. Yes, but it might take longer for us to review your domain. That's going to be my short-term answer. But we do have Taylor that's now on board, and she's kind of, she's gotten a really good handle on things so far. So it will give us more time to kind of, work in other, in segments, and, maybe running 2 live streams a week might be beneficial for you all. So that's what we'll do. But again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming. I love talking to you all. I love this somewhat of a face-to-face, we get to do. But yeah, those articles are great. I would say also, if you are not super familiar with our knowledge base, I would 100% check that out. There's so much content in there that is so good. We actually dedicate a lot of time and money to writing these articles. But yeah, again, thank you guys. You guys keep thanking me, but no, I'm going to thank you. Thank you for joining. Thanks for using Ezoic. I really stand by Ezoic as a product and team and a company, value-wise, moral-wise. Like, they do everything the right way. They really care about you all. They care about us as employees, and that kind of shows through the products that they serve. But before I go on too much of a rant, I just want to say thank you again, guys, so much. And I hope you guys join with me next Thursday. Guys, I know you kind of joined late. I'm not opposed to running these later, as we normally see more people kind of join from the 9:30 to 10:30 time. So maybe we can run the next one from like 9:30 to 11:30. That way, guys, we can have you for a little bit longer in case you want to ask more questions. But for everyone else, please just open a thread and twist. I can help you out in there. Tucker and Taylor probably already are in there helping you out, but I'll be in there for the rest of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your Thursday, whether it's Thursday afternoon, if you guys are still in the morning time. Have a safe weekend. Have a great Friday. You guys are the best. I love you guys. But again, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.